Are there too many criminal laws? I'm Jon Deer for Blob Law, and today we look at criminal laws in the United States. How many are there? Are there too many? And why is this question critically important for you? Here's a clue. You're at risk of being arrested right now. But let's start at the beginning of this story. Back in 1982, when attorney Ronald Gaynor of the United States Department of Justice launched a project to count exactly how many federal criminal laws there are. In other words, how many different things are there that a person could possibly be charged with as a federal crime. For the next 2 years, he and his staff poured through 23,000 pages of federal laws. After 2 years, they gave up. Mr. Gaynor said he could have died and been resurrected twice without ever finding an answer to that question. He guessed that all the way back in 1982, there were already over 3,000 different federal crimes. In the 1990s, the American Bar Association made another attempt. As did Mr. Gaynor, the American Bar Association's attempt also failed. However, they guessed that by the 90s, the number of possible federal crimes had already grown to 4,500. In other words, there were over 4,500 possible crimes that a person could be charged with under federal law. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Others have estimated that under the Code of Federal Regulations, which is an entirely different body of law than the Federal Penal Code, there are between 10,000 and a whopping 300,000 possible crimes that a person could be charged with. Not even the Library of Congress knows exactly how many laws there are. The fact is, there are so many federal criminal statutes that no one knows. And that's bad news for you and me. It means that we don't know when we're committing a crime. No one can know the thousands and thousands of acts that can get you arrested. Here's a simple example. According to the Federal Penal Code, it's against the law to make a stamp look like it's been postmarked. Keep in mind, we're not talking about making fake stamps. We're talking about taking a real stamp and making it look like it's used. Why is that a crime? There's probably a very good reason for it, but who would know? Here's another example. The Economist reports that in 2010, federal agents burst into the home of a 65-year-old man and held him in a chair for 4 hours while they ransacked his home, searching for orchids. His hobby was raising and selling orchids. He didn't know it was illegal under federal law. After defending himself until he ran out of money, he pled guilty and received a sentence of 17 months in prison. How is it that you can be arrested when you didn't even know you were committing a crime? That's because of the age-old maxim, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Criminal intent only requires that you intended to do the act, not that you intended to break the law. That means if you innocently mark up a stamp, or innocently sell orchids, or innocently do any of the thousands and thousands of relatively minor acts that are criminalized under federal law, you can be arrested, forced to defend yourself, and sent to jail. The danger today is greater than ever. In 1982, when our friend Ronald Granger started trying to figure out how many crimes there are, 1 in every 400 people were incarcerated. Today, we incarcerate 1 in every 100 people. That's the highest rate of incarceration in the world. In addition, today, virtually all of our conduct is subject to government surveillance. Not just our present conduct, but our entire history of activity. Emails, texts, even our history of internet searches. Imagine someone combing through all of that information, searching for any crime to get you on. You have no idea whether something you've done in your digitally recorded past runs afoul of one of those thousands and thousands of federal criminal statutes. After he retired, our friend Ronald Gaynor of the Department of Justice admitted that he started that project in 1982 in order to demonstrate the idiocy of federal criminal laws. Gaynor has advocated for decades for simplifying the federal criminal code. He and others believe that it criminalizes many, many acts that should not be crimes. They also believe that it's so complex and so vaguely worded that no one can tell whether they're actually committing a crime. So the answer to the question of whether there are too many criminal laws is a resounding yes. If you like this episode, please share it. That's what keeps us alive. Also, please be sure to like and share our Facebook page, and also mostly subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jon Deer for Blob Law. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.